right, hey, welcome everybody to conversation number 2 with my buddy Josh Bose. Josh is a good friend of mine, and we've known each other for a few years now. We're going to just talk about a few things. We're going to talk about his company, he's the co-founder of Swamp Fox Apparel. So it's I guess like a military t-shirt company. That's pretty cool. We're going to discuss that a little bit, maybe see how he got started, and then probably talk about a little bit of diet and maybe just healthy lifestyle in general. So welcome, Josh.
Yeah, man. Thanks for bringing me on this.
Yeah, it's exciting. Just like anybody, I'm very excited to have you on the show, and everybody brings something very unique to discuss, like we were just saying earlier. So I'm really excited to get going. So Swamp Fox Apparel, tell me about that. When did you get started, or why did you want to start it?
Yeah, so the idea started, I was probably a couple months from separating from the military. And a friend of mine I actually went through boot camp with. I knew him for like 6 years at that point.
Yeah.
We had the idea of starting a company. We weren't sure what. We just kind of wanted a platform to raise money for veterans.
Okay, cool.
So we didn't have like an idea of a business or a charity in mind. We just had that set idea. And then we both got out, and then we kind of started talking about it more now that we were like settled back in our hometowns. So we figured a t-shirt company would kind of be like a nice low-risk way to try to start something.
Yeah, very cool.
It's pretty like low cost.
Yeah, so I like it, and then obviously for everyone here, I'm wearing, this is your logo. It's actually pretty cool. It's kind of hard to see, but I'll post some stuff in the comments so people can see it better, and we'll post some stuff so they can find your website. But it's pretty cool. It's a super comfy shirt. I know I use it all the time to work out. It doesn't shrink. And but that's cool. So you guys, it sounds like you just wanted to start a company. You didn't really know what you wanted to give back to the veterans, since you said you were in the military for a little while yourself, and then you figured like a t-shirt company is probably a pretty cool and fun way to start. So I mean, was there like a reason why you thought maybe like a t-shirt company would be a good way to start?
I knew a lot of guys that did it, so if I never like needed help with something, I know I kind of fall back on them.
Yeah.
And it just seemed like a simple process at the time, It can't be that hard. And as far as like putting money into it, the startup capital really isn't that much.
It's not too much,
so,
yeah. Okay. So was like, how did you even start that? Like, what was, I guess, the first start? You said you started with a buddy of yours, so you guys were like 50-50 partners or / co-founders, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, so we kind of started bouncing back and forth with ideas. He came up with the name, so Swamp Fox. For those who don't know, that was the nickname of Francis Marion, who was in the American Revolution.
Okay.
And he's known as like the father of guerrilla warfare.
Oh, and very neat. Yeah.
So
okay. Yeah, I forgot about that. That is pretty cool.
So he was titled as the Swamp Fox. So he kind of threw that name at me, and I was like, okay. And then I just started drawing up logos, seeing what was best, and that was one of them.
So did you actually draw this logo up, or like yourself, or like how did you do that?
Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
I drew it and then just rendered it on the computer.
Okay.
And had it printed.
Oh, sweet. Well, that's pretty cool. So very unique then, I guess.
Yeah.
Sweet. So what was the next part? Like you realize this is what you want to do. This is what you want to call it. I guess having a name is a very important first step to figure out what you want to do. But what were the steps after that?
So once we had the logo and everything settled, we got pretty pumped up to start printing shirts. But there's like so many other small things you kind of forget about going into any kind of business.
Yeah.
So obviously we like the logo and the name, so we want to have it, get a patent on it so no one steals it. That's not necessary, but if it does become like a big company, it's something you do have to worry about.
So how was the, like, because I know the patent process, like I've even looked into it a little bit myself, and it seems like it can be really difficult to start. Like you see, what are the commercials on television or whatever, people are trying to sell like, hey, call us now and we'll help you get your patent, but it almost sounds sketchy. Like how did you even start on that process?
So you have to apply online.
Okay.
There's a website you can go to. And then what you do is there's so many different rules for like it has to be what product are you doing it for?
Yeah.
Are you doing the logo or the name? So you have to do the name and the logo separately. So
Okay.
you're looking at cost of this too. It's not a cheap process to get a patent. That's why a lot of people don't do it.
Would you? So is this like the most expensive part, or I mean?
Yeah. Besides actually making the product, it's probably the most expensive startup wise.
Okay.
Because after that, you have to start looking at your printers. You know, are you like printing these shirts yourself?
Yeah.
Or are you going through a third party? So I would do
Yeah.
a third party.
Okay.
Most t-shirt companies will print a minimum of 50 shirts. We didn't want to start off that much because we didn't even like have 50 people to sell to initially.
Yeah.
So, you know, you have to do your research. I found a guy that prints off 30 as the minimum. So you go through that, and then you have to look at quality of the t-shirts. So do you want 100% cotton? Do you want a blend? Like the shirt you're wearing now is a tri-blend of like polyester, cotton.
Okay.
So
yeah, whatever you guys do with this one is pretty good because, like I said, it didn't shrink, and that's like extremely important for me. Obviously, like I use it primarily for working out, so I wash it a lot because it gets covered in sweat, and I haven't had any like shrinkage vertically, which is important because I have this long torso. So like shirts, they ride up like real high on me. So the fact that this doesn't shrink and like my belly button doesn't pop out when I'm doing something in the gym is good. So I knew it was like a good quality shirt. So obviously like pulling the quality over being able to print more shirts was a good call, initially right off the bat.
Yeah, it's definitely what I wanted was because it's a military brand and that's what it's appealing to, and most people in the military are working out.
Yeah.
So it's good to have a shirt like that. That's what I wanted.
Yeah, very cool. So you initially printed off like 30 shirts, and then like at this point, did you and you were applying for your patent at the same time, you're printing off the shirts. I mean, were you like, did you have a website up at this point or?
No, initially we didn't have a website. We were selling through Instagram.
Oh, so cool.
The process was basically people would DM us through Instagram, and then they would pay through PayPal, and I would send them the shirt.
Okay, so that's actually obviously like a cheaper way to, not like cheap in the sense of like cheap material, but like a financially smart way to do it on Instagram. Obviously, you can reach a lot of people, and you can do the selling through that. So might as well, It's
more difficult to actually purchase a shirt that way, and it's kind of like
really
probably people off from doing it because you have to like email, like send your address and everything. It's easier to do on the website.
Yeah.
But with the website, unless you're building your own, you have to go through something like Shopify.
Okay.
So that's another cost you have to add in, is you're paying $30 a month to sell product.
Okay. So you're paying you're paying for the patent. Obviously, initially, you're paying to make the shirts. You're paying to have the shirts processed, like when you sell them. Mm-hmm. So there's definitely a lot of overhead here, initially at least.
And then you have to get, a business license. If your state has sales tax on clothing, you have to pay sales tax. You have to apply for an LLC or a sole proprietorship, which is either one you are. There's a lot of little things that kind of go into.
So how did you did you just kind of like figure this out you were going, or you were talking to some of your friends that had initially done it? Like, how did you decide if you're going to be an LLC, or how did you pick your path? Or is it just kind of like figured out along the way? Like, all right, we did this already. Now kind of what do we have to do? Like stop and think like what the next part would be.
It was definitely kind of like figure it out as you go. That's what's good about like having a low risk business to start with. Because even if you fail, you learn so much along the way of what you have to do. Yeah. I did friends in like the business realm that could help me out and like kind of guide me. Yeah. But it is still like a lot of work to do these little things.
Yeah, and like you said, it's a good business to like figure it out. So like now that you've done it for a t-shirt company, if you come up with another idea for something else, then you could do it for that as well. Because like this is the process for a t-shirt company. So this is a different or similar thing that I want to sell, but the process will be similar, and I already know how to apply for a patent, so that part will be quicker. I already know how to account for this or account for that or make this business, and so that's pretty cool.
Things you know how to like keep track of like all of your purchases, your sales. it's all those things you have to keep track of.
Yeah, a lot of details.
Yeah.
Huh.
So there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah, but I mean, it sounds like you figured it out and it didn't like. So how would you? Do you know like how long maybe the process took you from the time where you like were like, all right, let's get started. We're actually going to start going into production. You know, coming up with a design, getting things printed. Like, do you know how long that process maybe took until, let's say, maybe you sold your first shirt?
Once we made up the logo and the name, it was probably about a month. It's when we actually had shirts.
So that's pretty quick so far, yeah.
Yeah, we were like really pumped up to get shirts out. I guess the biggest thing for like if someone's starting like a shirt company would be to get feedback from people.
Yeah.
And you don't want someone who's going to like just kind of like they're going to be your friend and tell you it's good no matter what. Like you want honest like criticism.
Yeah, of course.
Like, hey, would you wear this? Does this logo look good? You wanted people that would actually like buy your product initially. So
yeah,
before we even had made, we already had people that wanted to buy them.
No, and I think that's really, really smart. I know a lot of research I've done for, you know, numerous amount of things is that's what you want to do. And obviously you want honest opinions, because if somebody's not telling you what the defects are, and then you start like putting that in mass production, you're starting to print hundreds of shirts because you're like, oh yeah, these shirts are good. You know, my friends like them, but none of your friends told them that it shrinks, right, or the logo falls off or whatever, you know, there's holes in it. Then when you print those hundreds of shirts, you're going to have a serious problem, and then you're going to just have a bunch of crappy shirts sitting around. So,
exactly.
No, that's definitely a smart move, and I think that would be good for anybody starting off. Like, print a few, don't even sell them, give them to your friends or people that at least you know are going to give you honest opinions back, and then, you know, obviously don't get offended, take it back to the drawing board, make it better so that when you print it out in a lot bigger batches that you have a good quality product. So
definitely.
So you guys didn't do too bad for your first time then. It sounds like you took like a lot of like good steps here.
Yeah, you definitely have to have patience when starting it, and we did rush it, but we rushed it in a good way.
Yeah. Well, it sounds like you were smart about it, and you guys were obviously talking to each other quite a bit, and you didn't make any huge blunders. I mean, is there something you maybe wish you did better or did differently to expedite it or to make something easier for yourselves?
I do wish we did wait longer before we started selling shirts. I think we should have waited until we had at least like 4 or 5 designs printed off already. That way we don't just have a website with like one shirt on there for like a month.
Yeah.
And then
because it
takes
obviously, it costs money to run the website, so maybe you want to have more things on there. Is that what you're kind of saying?
Yeah.
Or okay.
Yeah, just the price of the shirts and everything between that and the website, it's a lot of startup for like where we were at, you know.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. Huh. So that's interesting. So about a month until you started printing off your shirts and got that process going, and then is that about like when you were starting to sell shirts too? Is that like the same timeline?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, once we had shirts printed out, I was already mailing them out that day.
Dude, that's so cool. That's awesome. So that was the initial 30 shirts, or was that more at that point?
Yeah, it was 30 shirts.
Sweet.
So we had 60 total. Beginning, we had a male shirt and a female shirt.
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of a cool feeling just to like see people wearing something you made, you know?
No, I think it's incredible.
To have like positive feedback on everything.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like when you have an idea, and then I think this correlates, what you're saying correlates to a lot of things. Like people have ideas, you know, people say, you know, they're dreamers and they have these goals in life, and, you know, starting a t-shirt company was one of you guys' goals. And it's so easy to be like, hey, I have this goal, I want to have this product, I want to have this company, and it's so easy to talk about that, and it's fun to talk about it, and honestly it makes your mind feel better even just talking about it, but not until you like actually put it into production and take action on that, which is the hard part, obviously. You know, figuring all that stuff out, and then like finally when, you know, weeks and months down the road, when you get that positive feedback and you sell the t-shirt, you're like, holy crap, like this was an idea months ago or a year ago, and now I'm selling a shirt. And like you said, like that's something I created, and somebody's using it and they like it, and I think that's an awesome feeling.
Yeah, the work is definitely worth the reward. Like I said, we build it as a platform to donate to charities, so we kind of went through the charities, broke them down to what we like what charities we thought were best.
Yeah. So
And we just
which charity did you pick?
Homes for Our Troops.
Okay. So
So
what? Yeah. Talk about that for a little bit.
so Homes for Our Troops raises money to build houses for disabled veterans,
Okay.
post 9/11 disabled veterans. Um, all the money goes towards that. So if they're having like trouble walking or something, they'll build stairs and doorways, like wheelchair accessible doorways.
Okay. Cool. So are they just
Things
building
like
like these partitions for the houses, or are they actually building the houses for them?
they'll build the actual house or
Okay.
just upgrade
Upgrade
have
the
these
house.
things.
Okay. Cool. And so how
So
much of your sales go to this or to this charity?
each month we're doing 10% of the total sales,
Very cool.
and it's cool to see the positive feedback from them. Like they're sending me like Christmas cards,
Oh wow,
and,
really?
and you get to see like who you're affecting. What your money's going towards. That's just a good feeling.
No, definitely. I mean, not only have you
Definitely.
created a T-shirt company, and put it into motion, but you're able to give back to a really good cause to help people out that have definitely, sacrificed their lives in a sense of, they're for whatever reason they're injured, or they have this handicapped and they can't use a normal
Yeah.
house and they need this help, to build it themselves. So that's incredible. I mean, that's, like you said, very rewarding to be able to give back in that sense. And it's cool that the company is like so stoked about reaching out to you as well, and that you guys are contributing in such a manner. Because I guess you're kind of like, we're this T-shirt company, we're just getting started, and we have this idea, we want to commit 10% of our sales to you guys, and you kind of like explain that to them, and then they were like, yeah, no problem. This is how you go on with that, or this is how you get started doing that?
Yeah, that's exactly how it went down. So I just sent them an email. I told them what we were doing. We didn't even have T-shirts yet, and I said, "Hey, this is what we're looking to do. What do I need to do for you to like put your name out there that we're donating to you?" And I just had to fill out some paperwork,
Okay.
just like showing my commitment to them and what I'm going to be donating. Because unfortunately, there are people that say they're donating to charities that aren't.
Yeah, there's been some serious scandals. Actually, it reminds me of obviously Wounded Warrior is
Yeah.
an absolutely huge program that's a very, very good charity. I think most people know about that one. That's probably one of the biggest ones. But I just heard of, I can't remember who it was, but it was a couple guys that was like Wounded Warrior program or something, like Wounded Warrior something, and they were just taking the money for themselves. And I mean, they got a lot of money. I believe it was at least tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of dollars, and they were just taking it to themselves in that name and blowing it on whatever. But they did get
Yeah.
caught. So I mean, you're right. Obviously, people use that stuff because it's easy. Because people obviously are generous and kind-hearted and they want to donate. So it can definitely be taken advantage of. So how they had to like confirm that you guys were a legitimate business or legitimately giving to them, or I don't know how to like they went about doing that. I mean, you signed some papers, but
Yeah, it wasn't anything like any like kind of legal document. It
Yeah.
was just showing that between, I signed from like this month to this month of next year, I will donate this amount, and then I just go to their donation page, send them an email and the receipt of what I donated, and it's fine.
very cool.
And they just kind of, so when I did send in the paperwork, what they do is they say, I have permission to use their name on like social media, say
Yep.
this is what I'm donating to.
Yep.
They give me access to the logo, so I can
Okay.
post their logo on my social media, and they send me like information cards. So every order I send out like information cards for Homes for Our Troops, what they do, and what they're involved in.
Yes, you're saying like when you sell a shirt, when you send the shirt out, you have their cards in there as well. So not only are you giving 10% back with each sale, but you're allowing them to get their name out there so that the person who buys the shirt can donate even more if they see fit.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Exactly.
Super cool idea, man. I think that's awesome to be able to do that. Because like I said, you not only just started a t-shirt company, but you started a t-shirt company that donates to a very good cause. And I think that's what you initially said. You guys wanted to create a company, but you didn't really know what, and you knew you wanted to create a company that donated to a good cause. And then it kind of seems like it just, one thing into another. You figured out a t-shirt, you figured out the company, you figured out who you wanted to donate to, and it kind of all came together. But it definitely took a lot of acting and then just having an idea. You just there's so many aspects that go into creating such a thing. Like I said, it's so easy to say like, oh, I want to have a company and I want it to donate to a charity, but there's a ton of underlying things. So no, I think that's awesome. I think it's great what you guys are doing. So I hope that it only like continues to blow up from here, because I know I've told quite a few people, because like I said, the t-shirt's super comfy, and I know my wife uses it as well, and she loves it for her workouts. So it's pretty cool, man.
Yeah, the hardest part about it is, another thing when starting a business is you need to look into how many are there. So especially veteran clothing companies, it is probably the most oversaturated market I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And we didn't realize that when we started. And so the biggest thing is kind of trying to create a lifestyle that goes with the brand.
Yes.
You can have like the coolest logo, the coolest name. And unfortunately, donating to a charity isn't exactly a selling point.
Yeah.
So if that's what you're riding on to sell something, more than likely it's probably not going to work.
Yeah, at least not the only aspect. I mean, it can be a point of the program, but it can't be the only selling point, like you said.
Yeah, there needs to be some kind of lifestyle contributing to clothing.
Yeah, I agree. You gotta find something that sets you apart from all the other companies, because obviously, like you said, it's a saturated market. So you want to sell a lifestyle in a sense, but I think it just needs to be, I mean, I'm not running the company, but it needs to be all encompassing, and it sounds like that's kind of what you guys are going for. You have, a really awesome logo, you have good quality products, you have, you're donating to a good cause, and then you're trying to develop this lifestyle as well that goes along with it. So definitely, it seems like you're headed in the right direction to me.
Yeah, it's going well so far.
Cool, man.
Yeah.
So how long have you guys been doing it now? I mean, it seems, is it a year or is it, I'm trying to think.
We started it in spring of 2017, so yeah, about a year.
Oh, very cool. Yeah, that's right. Sweet. So, I mean, are you guys maybe trying to expand it outside of t-shirts? Because I know like some of these companies don't just do t-shirts, and maybe like hats. I think you guys did hats for a little bit, or?
Yeah. So the hats actually came to mind because that's actually just some feedback we get from people.
Yeah.
Like, I had some friends come up and say, are you guys going to be making hats? You should put this logo on there. I think it would be awesome. I'd buy it.
Yeah.
So then you have to look into hat companies, the materials goes into that whole realm again.
Yeah.
Which is expensive, which is why we were more hesitant with hats at first. But yeah, we started printing hats.
Yeah, but people will pay good money for a hat too, and I think you guys are doing the right thing. Like, you're listening to the customer, right? Yeah. And listening to the customer, more times than none, like the customer knows the correct option to take, in the sense that they're the consumer. They bought your shirt, right? So if they're saying, like, if they're telling you, hey, I'd buy this hat, then there's probably other people that would buy the hat too. And obviously a lot of people wear hats with those kind of logos on there, especially in the military. So I think that would be a great option. And then you just got to continue to take the advice or recommendations, and obviously you have to sift through them a little bit, and get feedback if this or that wouldn't sell. But I mean, listen to the customer, see what they think would be a good growth platform, a good way to extend your company. So
yeah, definitely.
Sweet. So so did you guys create the hats yet, or you said you're still like working on that aspect of it?
Yeah, so we started the hats probably last fall. So what we initially did was we had patches made, and then we just had the patches embroidered or stitched onto the hats.
Okay.
They came out well. That's definitely a more expensive way of doing it.
Yeah.
You have to have everything made separately.
Yeah.
So we're having the patches made, the hats ordered, and then you have to find somebody to sew them on. So it's kind of a process.
Yeah.
But they come out good.
Huh.
So we already have hats with the logo that's on your shirt. They're up on the website. So.
Oh, cool. I didn't even know that. We'll have to check it out. Yeah, like I said, I'll post the link to the website and your Instagram page profile so people can check it out and definitely be able to check out your t-shirts and look at the charity that you're donating as well. So, but you're like, I'm kind of interested. You were talking about maybe creating or extending a lifestyle to the company, right? To help promote its uniqueness, if you will, like, or
Mhm.
create something that separates you from the pack. What would be your ideas for that lifestyle? I mean, what are you thinking of? Like maybe like, so you said like a lot of people wear it to work out. So maybe are you promoting like a healthy lifestyle or fitness, or what are you guys trying to do? Maybe.
So the initial idea, besides the charity, was because it's named after someone from the Revolution. Was we wanted to have products that honored, military members from like the American Revolution until
Yeah.
the World Wars. So even on our Instagram page, we always honor those that have passed in the military, just to give them the respect. We want to start making shirts honoring these people that have passed, just to remember them. So we're kind of going with that, just kind of.
Yeah. Very cool. No, I think that's great. So you'll be, I mean, you said that one gentleman that you guys got the Swamp Fox from, that that was his nickname or whatever, and then maybe, you take it upon figuring out some more people that you can include in there and just kind of extend on that. But I think that is, I mean, I haven't seen that, so that's pretty neat.
Yeah, we always try to kind of look up the anniversaries of guys that have passed,
Hmm.
just to kind of like tell people about them, their information, what they did, just to help remember them.
Yeah, very cool. So that's awesome. So you guys are obviously, you've been doing it for a year, like you just said. You're pretty much full force. You got the website going. You have the Instagram page going. Are you guys using any other social platform mediums to get your word out?
We do have a Facebook page. I
Okay.
don't use that as much as Instagram and our website.
Is it not? I don't know. Have you not seen as much feedback from Facebook, or like is Instagram working better, or is the website working better, or is there like a reason you're not using Facebook so much?
Instagram's it's just easier.
Hmm.
It's easier to get information out. Uh, Facebook, I'm just not that active on there anymore.
Yeah. So you would kind
So
of, at least for your personal preference, you'd recommend just the Instagram and the website, because the website's a little bit more hands off. Like you update it, you throw your new stuff up on there. But Instagram, like you said, you can kind of like obviously post new pictures and honor, fallen veterans and kind of
yeah,
push it that way. Um,
yeah, you can quickly like post a picture, a story, something like that, just to get the information out there.
yeah, very cool. So, um, nice, man. So that's pretty cool. Thanks for talking about that for a little while.
Yeah.
Is there anything, I know we talked about a little bit, like, is there anything you would do differently at this point? So you're kind of a year into it. Like, if somebody was starting their company, no matter if it was a t-shirt company or if it was something completely different, I think you've kind of outlined the ways to get started on that a little bit at least. Pretty detailed. There's obviously a lot of steps. I mean, is there anything completely like, I would definitely not do this, or I would definitely do this instead?
Definitely be patient. That's like the main thing.
Mm.
Dude, Google's your best friend. Google everything, look up everything that you have to do before you even try to start. Look up all the costs, all the startup costs, and just figure out if you can make it work down the road. Like if you don't, like go like worst case scenario.
Yeah, I definitely
Like
think, yeah, plan for the plan for the worst, obviously, and,
yeah,
and hope for the best. Shoot for this, shoot higher. Interesting. So obviously, you want to do your due diligence on starting a company. You don't want to just jump right into it. That would be idiotic. So you guys did a lot of research beforehand before committing. Um,
hmm
so very smart. So yeah, I think that's a great recommendation. So very neat, man.
yeah,
So
man,
yeah,
it's been fun.
cool. So you're just gonna continue, maybe creating new products and kind of see where it goes right now. But you said no, like huge plans for any different, avenues that you want to take it.
Yeah, not right now. We're kind of sticking with the same theme, kind of a military themed product.
Yeah,
So we do have. It is cool to see, like I said, like the feedback to have a complete stranger send you messages and say like what they think about it, or they want to be like, I've had athletes or just military members on social media want to wear the product to like kind of be a sponsor of it.
Yeah.
It's cool to see that. And that's kind of what's happening right now.
No, it's awesome.
It just helps get the brand out there.
Yeah, and like you said, patience is huge, and I think patience is something a lot of people don't have when it comes to success, because so many people see success stories, or they say quote unquote overnight success stories, but all those success stories have so much planning and that due diligence behind it. There was a lot of patience applied until they got to that point where it blew up. Because it's already been a year, and you're just launching your second product essentially. A few months ago. And it just takes time. You have to be patient. But the hard work, a lot of the hard work is done. Not that it's not going to take any more hard work, but you've gotten the patents, you've gotten the company figured out. And you I think the hardest part a lot of time is initially starting and getting that stuff, the path laid down in front of you. But I think now that you're actually moving in that process, you have a good way ahead for any future products that you want to bring to it.
Exactly. Like, most people, they see these like business Instagrams, they see maybe like 5% of what's going on. You see all the good things. Yeah. You don't see hard work and all the grinding that people are doing to make it happen.
Yeah. And that's as it should. You want to show the good stuff, and you want to have a good face of the company, of course, but obviously there's a lot of moving parts behind anything like that. So very cool.
Yeah.
Neat, man. So thanks for sharing that. This is something I've never started that, but I've looked into patents for some things that I've done before, and I know it's really difficult, but I know you're just saying just apply online, and that was a good place to start for that. So hopefully some of that information, a little bit along the way helps people out. Like I said, regardless if they want to start a t-shirt company or if they want to start something else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's not a hard process. It's just very time consuming. It's a lot of information to take in. Yeah. But you get it done.
Yeah. Very cool, man. Cool. So one thing I'm super interested in as well, that I know you're pretty big on is obviously, you're in the military and you've lived a pretty, healthy lifestyle for the most part, or I'd say in its entirety. So you're really kind of smart on this keto diet and some other things with essentially living a healthy lifestyle that obviously I'd like to think I live a relatively healthy lifestyle. But why did you pick this keto diet? And I guess for anybody that has no idea what keto is, what is it?
So the ketogenic diet, it's been around for a while. I heard about it from the Joe Rogan podcast, actually.
Oh, very neat.
So, like most things. So, just what I heard on there, it sounded very interesting. So, a ketogenic diet is a high-fat, moderate-protein, low-carbohydrate diet. And the idea behind it is, so on a normal Western diet, you're burning glycogen as fuel, which is your sugar and your carbohydrates. With a ketogenic diet, you're switching your body to use fat as fuel.
Okay.
So basically what your body's using is ketones from that fat. And that's what you're running on. So I started this probably back in 2015.
Okay. So you're you started in 15, you've been doing this with no breaks since 15, so kind of going on 3 years?
So I stopped doing it about a year ago. So I did it for 2 years straight.
Oh, wow. That's a pretty long time.
I was coming in and out of ketosis. Yeah. So my main goal with this was, the biggest thing they preached on was it decreases inflammation in your body. Mm-hmm. And at the time, I had a ton of shoulder issues. I tore both my labrums, and I have bursitis. Nice. Under my scapula. So I was getting steroid shots in my shoulder. Nothing was helping. So I tried this to see if it would help. Yeah,
I've heard pretty great things about it. I mean, I know a little bit about the inflammation, like you said, and I know it's been used for a lot of alternative fix actions, if you will, for medical issues. So that's kind of like you were looking for something as an alternative to kind of help your medical issues, and you heard about it, so you started doing your research again on this, and you just kind of slowly started into it, I guess, or did you like immediately were like 100% into it, or?
Yeah, there definitely wasn't a slow process. It was just like one day I started. So
because you said it's with there's a lot of fat in your diet. Obviously, there's some protein in your diet. So you just completely like go home, wipe everything out of your refrigerator, and just like, how did you figure out like what foods really that involves? I mean, what kind of fat is it, or what kind of, I don't know.
Just any kind of fat. So like my breakfast it'd be like eggs with cheese on it, and then avocado, bacon, all the good things.
Oh man.
So it's really not a hard diet to do. You do start to miss like bread.
Yeah. So
pasta.
yeah. So not a lot of, like you said, obviously carbs, not a lot of bread. So, because I don't know, most people would think, they'd be like, all right, Josh, you're saying like eggs with bacon and cheese on there. Like, that doesn't sound too healthy to me. But I mean,
yeah, that's the main. When I tell people about this diet that I've never heard of it, they look at me like I'm insane. So the biggest question people have is like, am I worried about like cholesterol or having like a heart attack or something? So,
and is that just because of the amount of eggs you're eating, or the amount of like, what else is having like a high amount of cholesterol in there?
Just the amount of saturated fat you're taking in from the butter, the bacon, and all of that. So, I kind of did, at the time I was doing this, it wasn't a very popular diet, but there are guys on YouTube that, make videos that have been doing this for a long time, that put out their information. So I'm taking everyone's knowledge on it and kind of making my own.
Yeah, of course. Much like you should do with anything, right? I mean,
yeah. So basically what I got from it was eating a high amount of saturated fat, it increases your LDL cholesterol, which is the cholesterol you don't want high. So that can cause, that's what causes like the blockage in your arteries and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the idea behind the ketogenic diet is the lack of carbohydrates and sugar decreases the inflammation in your body.
Okay.
And that inflammation is a part of the reason you have these blockages in your arteries from the fat.
Okay.
So really if you have a high LDL, but you have no inflammation in your body, there's really not a big reason to worry about it.
Okay. Makes sense.
There's a test you can have done at the doctor's that tests for a C-reactive protein in your blood, and this protein increases with the more inflammation in your body. So you can get that test done if you're worried about it, if your LDL is high.
So essentially, it almost sounds like this keto diet is attacking something that not much people would think about, because like these fats aren't necessarily bad because it's a high-fat diet. However, it's these, the carbs and the sugar that are actually causing, or the main root issue for all these artery blockages.
Yeah, it seems like inflammation is kind of the root of a lot of like diseases and problems that we have today. There's tons of books out there on it. There's Wheat Belly. That's a popular book. There's tons of books about sugar.
Yeah, well, we all know how terrible sugar is for us, and we all know how, the last few decades in at least American history in the food, I think there's a lot of information out there now on actually how bad sugar is and how much at least Americans eat of it. Especially, I think, probably children eat more than anybody. Because a lot of the children food it's not even what a normal adult would eat. It's terrible food for you, cookies and burgers and all this pasta, and it's absolutely terrible. But so obviously sugar, can't remember exactly what the recommendation is, but it's a very low. It's in the 20-gram recommendation, right, per day per adult. So it's pretty low.
Like it's under 25 grams of added sugar.
Mm-hmm.
So I currently track my food and I try to stay under that, which I usually do.
So
that's my main goal now.
I mean,
stepping
but
off the
does
ketogenic
does this diet
which
take
is-
like a lot of tracking? Because I know there's a lot of like quote unquote diets out there that you're literally you have points or you have whatever you name it. And does it take like a lot of tracking progress? Because I know like for me, the reason I don't do a lot of these quote unquote again diets is because I don't have the time, nor do I really feel like tracking a bunch of stuff. I know like when I go to the store, there's a few things I check. Like I'm checking, make sure I don't have a bunch of sugar. I don't have, I'm not eating carbs or I'm not eating bread, or I am, and at least if I am, I'm eating them in moderation. But I mean, how much are you actually? Do you have to track a bunch of stuff? I mean, are you going down and like writing in a notebook, or are you just keeping it in your head, or what are you doing?
So I have an app. It's called MyFitnessPal.
Okay,
So actually,
okay.
there was a point where I was in the military. We had a nutritionist where I was at, and she had us all use MyFitnessPal. It's super easy to use. There's a barcode scanner on it, so any food you eat, you can scan the barcode. It puts the food in there.
Oh yeah, so that cuts out a lot of it already. You just got to scan it and boom.
Exactly. So if you scan eggs, and then the next day you have eggs, it'll already be in there. You can just put it in. It shows you all of your nutrients for the day. So it's super easy to use once you get used to it.
Mm-hmm.
It can be annoying at first because it is like, it takes an extra 30 seconds.
Yeah. But once you get into it, it's not too bad. So so you said mainly fats for this diet. You said some protein and then less carbs, less bread. But you said you were talking obviously about like the ketones, and that's getting released in your gut, right? Because obviously your gut is kind of filtering what gets filtered into your body or what's going to get passed through, right? So is that kind of where the process is happening? Oh, it's okay.
Yeah, you're producing the ketones to that your body runs on. I mean, they even make exogenous ketones, which is you can buy it on Amazon, and you can take that.
So what are you're taking like a pill or a drink or something? I guess essentially instead of like forcing your liver into this ketosis state, you're just buying something and intaking it that way. So why wouldn't I just, to be your antagonist, like why wouldn't I just take that as opposed to like not suffer, but go through all this, tracking the entire program and, tracking how much I'm eating. Could I guess in theory, would I be able to eat whatever I want and then just take these ketones off the shelf?
You could do that, and it would give you energy, but you wouldn't be actually in a state of ketosis to burn fat.
So speaking of that, like what makes you, or how would one know if they're in that state? Like what does it mean to be in a state of ketosis, and how does one obtain that?
So starting off, it can take a couple weeks to actually get into ketosis. And there's actually something that's now labeled as the keto flu. Okay. And I actually remember having this. There was one day I just felt awful. It was just one day long, and apparently it's very common. It's just your body switching over to burning that fat. It's just like a dramatic change for your body to go through.
Yeah.
But to actually see ketosis, there's different ways. The most accurate is a blood test.
Okay.
So you can get a meter that tests blood sugar, and they make ketone strips, and you can test your blood, and it'll show you how many ketones are in your blood.
So is that something you have to go to the doctor for that, or is that something like you're bringing home and you're able to do yourself, like a diabetic maybe would do, pinching their finger or something?
Yeah, you could go on Amazon and buy the reader and the test strips. It is expensive. A cheaper way to do it is they make like urine strips. Mm-hmm. You could do it that way.
Okay, or I've even heard like breath stuff, but the blood stuff is probably the most accurate. And I would also imagine maybe after doing the blood test for a little while, because it's expensive, you kind of, after doing it maybe for a couple of weeks, you don't have to even buy them anymore because you kind of understand how your body feels when it's obtained that state, right?
Exactly.
Okay.
Because those, I think, came out to $10 a strip. So
that's not cheap.
Pricey.
That's not cheap at all. I mean, how often were you having to use that? Was that like every day, every week, every month, or?
That would be something you would use. It's like once unless you have the money for it. But I mainly stuck with the urine strips. It's not as accurate, but it can kind of give you a guesstimation as if you're in it.
Okay.
Because everyone's tolerance is different. You know, some people could eat 100 grams of carbs and stay in ketosis. Some people have to stay under 20 or else they'll come out of it. It's different for every person.
And what do you like? I guess just because I really don't know too much about it. So like, are you coming in and out of this ketosis state? Are you actually like physically or mentally feeling different than like? Can you feel yourself come in or go out of this state? Or I mean, what's going on with that?
Yeah, I could tell. So another reason I started it was you don't get that. I'm sure people get this. You know, you go to work, you have lunch, and then you just crash.
Yeah.
You know, you're at work and you just want.
Yep.
I used to get that every day at work. You know, after lunch, I would go back and it just.
You don't feel like doing anything. Yeah. I mean, obviously, like you said, it has a lot to do with your diet. If you're eating a bunch of those carbs, you're eating a bunch of the wheat, or you know whatever kind of bread you're eating, then your body just like you just sit there and you're just like, oh my god, like I can't do anything right now, and you just. Never mind work, but you can't, you know, you can't go work out. You can't really focus. You just want to take a nap. So this diet or this ketosis was inhibiting that effect, right? I mean, were you were noticing like you'd go have lunch and you'd come back and you'd still be like, you'd be pushing through the afternoon slump.
Yeah, I was alert all day, and I never have felt like I had a lack of energy.
So I mean, that's saying something for a lot of people, because I know one of the things that at least I struggle with productivity is, you know, that I'm tired. Maybe I'm not getting enough sleep. My whole body's wearing down, and I literally don't feel like checking off the stuff I got to do for the day, because I'd just rather go take a nap. I mean, I think it would just make everybody's production increase if they didn't have that slump, you know?
Right. Yeah, and the diet, just the stories I was hearing about it from other people just they just don't even sound real.
Yeah.
And I remember it was on the Joe Rogan podcast. There was a story. It was Dom D'Agostino, I think it was. He had on there, was talking about how being in safe ketosis can kind of help with cancer, and they're actually using it during the chemo process to help.
Interesting.
Kind of the cancer. And he talked about a guy that, you know, after you do rounds of chemo, you're kind of out of it.
Yeah, it really messes you up, to say the least.
Yeah. So he had a guy that was on the ketogenic diet before going into chemo, and apparently after a couple rounds, he got up and went for like a 10-mile run.
Holy smokes. But so I mean, he felt that way, but did they notice actually any legitimate physical changes with the cancer that he had?
I haven't heard updates on that.
Yeah.
So it's kind of one of those things. Is it just that guy? Like that's how he is.
And you know what it might be, because I think another thing that people, at least when they think of diets or health, you know, whether it's weightlifting or running or whatever you're doing or whatever you're eating, like obviously everybody, like your own body is very unique, and everybody's bodies are affected differently from different foods, you know, different fuels that the body takes. Everybody reacts differently. So just because something worked good for you or just something worked good for him, it doesn't necessarily it's gonna be good for you, you know, it's not gonna affect you that way.
Exactly. Everyone's different when it comes to like different diets. You know, I could do it. Me and you could both do the same diet, and it's going to be different for me.
Yeah,
you know, you could lose all the fat on your body, and I could lose nothing. Because I guess what you have to think about is people start these diets, and then they don't see an effect, and so they stop because they say, "Oh, it's not working." But you have to look beyond that. It may not be the diet; it might be something else. Because like fat loss and like weight management is like very hormonal.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you're doing this diet, but you're super stressed out all the time,
it's maybe counteractive. Yeah, it's all for naught. I mean, how long did this whole process, so the day you came home and you were like, all right, I'm definitely going to start today. How long until you started noticing things? Because I know some of the stuff that I read says, you know, obviously it can take weeks and even can take months. And even in that period, there was a slump to where people, you know, were having a benefit, but then all of a sudden, like when they were going to work out, they were noticing like a decrease in their workouts, a decrease in their explosiveness, maybe even a decrease in the sleep that they were getting. But did you experience this, gradual increase and then any kind of slump, or was it a difficult transition in that sense?
Definitely in the beginning there was a slump. I was like physically tired. I'd go to the gym. I had no energy. Once you get into that state of ketosis, and then it's kind of about like nutritional timing from there. Like before you go to the gym, you have to eat something for fuel that your body's gonna run on.
Exactly.
So I'd have like a high fat food to burn.
Yeah.
Because it's what my body's using for energy to get my workout in.
Okay.
And another interesting thing is like the whole calories in, calories out is kind of strange on ketosis. There's actually a guy, he's an athlete for EAS, for Myoplex.
Mm-hmm.
He has a YouTube channel, and he did a 21-day challenge where he had 4,000 calories a day. And the result was, on the 21st day, he lost like a pound.
Really?
So he was eating probably about 350 grams of fat, 90 grams of protein, and 60 grams of carbs.
Wow.
And his body fat went down, and he lost a pound.
That's
Which is just like, it's super strange.
Yeah, it is really weird. I mean, and that kind of goes back to like all of these diets or lifestyles, whatever you're doing definitely affects everybody differently. I mean, there's no saying how really your body's going to react. Just like people have different allergies to different things, right? So that's a huge way to see that bodies are different, because, I could be allergic to peanut butter to where I can't even touch, a nut, and, I might go into some sort of shock. However, you can eat a peanut butter sandwich and you're fine. So, I mean, bodies are so very different. It's incredible.
Exactly. Like going back to like the hormones, like especially with like going back to sugar again, obviously when you take in sugar and carbohydrates, your body releases insulin.
Yep.
To bring blood sugar down. Well, insulin kind of inhibits the fat burning process. Like when you take in sugar and your body releases insulin, you are not burning fat. And, people think, well, I'll just go for a run and work it off. That insulin process, that doesn't go away for like 2 to 3 days.
Oh, wow.
So, if you splurge and have that like cake and donuts on the weekend, the next 2 to 3 days, you're not going to be burning fat.
So it affects you for that long. So maybe, because I know a lot of people, like, honestly, what I did for a while was like I'd eat really good for the for the middle, the 5 days, the work week, and then on the weekends I'd pretty much just eat whatever I want. But then I'd notice like, man, Mondays were sucking, and like Tuesdays I felt a little bit better, and then it took till about like Wednesday. So actually now it's all kind of coming together. And Wednesday, I was finally getting back into it. Thursday and Friday I felt great. So I know then I was actually lowering it to where I was eating healthy. I think it was like 6 days out of the week, and then like honestly with each passing month and year, like I think I'm now down to literally only one meal out of the week while I eat whatever I want. But now I'm at a point where I'm not craving it. And I know like sugar is one of those things. I think they're even trying to do, they may have, I mean, somebody might be able to correct me here, but sugar obviously is very addicting. And I'm not sure if it's like addicting in the sense that like crack is addicting or is it addicting and like, I love eating cake, but your body needs it. So like the less, and this is like you said, it was over time, like not just days or not just weeks, it was months, and it's been years. And now I'm down to like, there's only one meal out of roughly, 21 meals out of a week that I'm eating whatever I want. But, I definitely don't regret eating that burger or eating those wings or whatever I'm eating. And I think maybe somebody might be like, that's crazy that you're only doing that one meal. But honestly, like over the months and the years, like my body's not craving that whatsoever.
Exactly. Like after kind of eliminating sugar from my diet, my guilty pleasure is always like donuts and things like that. So I think it was like 3 weeks ago, maybe, wake up, I would have a donut for breakfast. That just ruins my day.
Yeah.
Like a couple hours later, I'm just dead the rest of the day. And that feeling makes me not even crave it anymore.
Yeah, and
So it's definitely
exactly. Yeah, and it's like I was saying, like it was taking days for me to recover from a weekend of eating like crap, and then like part of the reason I wanted to continue to not eat so badly over the weekend is because I didn't want to feel like crap again on when Monday came. It was kind of like, back in my earlier 20s when I was drinking, quite a bit, and Monday or Tuesday came around and I was feeling like crap. And that's part of the reason, like, I don't even drink, liquor anymore. It's been almost 2 years now, and I feel great. I have maybe a beer or a glass of wine a week, and, I absolutely feel great too. But it's not like people see you in the state you're in now and they're like, oh man, that guy's crazy. He's like going to the gym, 5 to 7 days a week, and he only eats one bad meal a week, and he only has one beer a week. But it's like, I didn't wake up like this. I didn't just be like, oh yeah, it's no problem. I can just have this one beer. I can have this one bad meal a week. But it literally took, 2, 3, 4, 5 years to get to a point where your body is comfortable, with only giving into those urges so often, or being able to utilize it in the gym that much, And I think just like you were talking about your t-shirt company, none of this stuff happens overnight. There's no overnight successes. People don't wake up and they're not bodybuilders, and they don't wake up and they're not, automatically this healthy person. Like, there's a huge difference between being that skinny person that you can see that can eat anything and they look healthy, when in actuality, the inside of their body is probably more than likely pretty unhealthy, And I think that's another thing that people don't take into consideration, is just because somebody's skinny does definitely not mean they're healthy. If they're eating burgers all the time and they're not gaining weight, then okay, they probably have a high metabolism and it's not affecting them in the way to where they're adding fat, but they still have an extremely, unhealthy body. Like you were talking about, their arteries probably being unhealthy, and that people don't realize any of that. So that's why I agree with you in the sense of, I didn't want my Mondays to feel like that anymore, and I slowly realized that I didn't want to just stop treating myself because I knew I didn't want any more sugar, but I was feeling like crap. And it's like the more you go to the gym, the better you feel. It's hard to start going to the gym, but once you start seeing results in the gym, it's kind of addicting. You want to continue seeing results in the gym, so you continue to go to the gym. And I think I know diet for at least me was a lot harder than to go into the gym. So the more I finally slowly got into having a better diet, the more I realized, like, hey, I'm actually seeing better effects, and not just physically, but mentally, like my clarity. So for lack of liquor and lack of beer, and then adding such a healthy lifestyle, like my clarity was so much better. And every time I got like a little bit more taste of like feeling great, waking up or whatever it was, I was like, I need to continue this lifestyle.
Exactly. It's the same way. I'm the same way with the drinking. I cut it out almost completely, except for like a beer and wine here and there. And it's a process, I would say anyone that's eating a lot of sugar right now, maybe try like a 30-day period.
Mm-hmm.
And
see how you feel after that. Yeah.
Just limit them. And then on day 31, eat a donut and see how it makes you feel. And you're going to be like, okay.
Yeah, I have noticed, obviously, like there's a ton of people that are addicted to, soft drinks, right? So they're obviously, soft drinks have anywhere from, I'd say, at least 40 to some of them, 50 grams of sugar just in that one serving, and they're drinking multiple ones a day. So they're probably, let's see, if you're having like 40, so they're probably at least 4 times over their normal sugar just if they're drinking those 2 Cokes a day. And they're drinking them multiple times a day, and they're literally getting addicted to that feeling. And when they stop, they'll start getting headaches or some crazy stuff happening. Like, are you kidding me? Like, it's wild. So I think that is a good recommendation for anybody that wants to do that.
It's all about figuring out what works for you. You have to do your own research.
Yep.
Look into what works for you. I started looking into nutrition and diet back when I was probably like 17 or 18. I was in high school. I wasn't overweight per se. I was like 6 foot. I was probably at 230, but that was like straight fat 230. It wasn't, I was doing nothing. I was like sitting down playing video games.
Yeah, you weren't buff. You were just like, all right.
Yeah. So it's kind of like I was on the path to being overweight. So, I was looking to join the military, do certain things that required me not to be like that. So, I started looking into my diet, looking at alternative foods, and I dropped from 230 to 170.
Oh wow!
And
I mean, that's
that's
huge.
hard.
That's 60 pounds.
Yeah.
That's definitely. What is that when you were? Yeah, it's when you were 17 when you did that. That's 60 pounds.
Yeah, I was probably about 18.
Oh wow! What did you do for that? I mean, that you didn't know about keto then, right? You said keto was obviously more recent in 2015, but
Yeah, I didn't know anything. I was just kind of Googling things and eating things I thought were healthy. I really started working out a lot for the job I wanted to do in the military. So it was kind of out of nowhere. I started running, swimming, and doing calisthenics 5 days a week. And then just trying to eat healthy, and now it just went away.
yeah, and I
Before I
think
knew what I was.
yeah, and obviously working out has a lot to do with it, but I think a lot of times people know more or less what's good or what's bad for them. I mean, you can, oh my God, I'm drinking all these Cokes, or I'm eating all these burgers, and you know that's bad for you, except people just either don't care or they don't have the willpower to make the change. Unfortunately, it's really hard to force somebody's hand to do that. But I think, like you said, yeah, you didn't know a ton about diet, but for the most part, you knew more or less what was healthy and what wasn't healthy, and then you just slowly started eating those things. And then I think paired with working out, you're able to increase your chances of seeing a positive result in your body. And of course, I would think you, again, were feeling a little bit better mentally probably as well.
Yeah, definitely. And it's all just a learning process and figure out what works for me, which is why I stopped doing the ketogenic diet. What I'm doing now is pretty much perfect.
Okay, cool. Because you did that for a long time. You did that for 2 years.
Yeah.
So I guess let's start with, why did you stop after 2 years? 'Cause, 2 years, you've been rocking it for a while. Did you just wake up one day and you're like, I'm kind of bored, I want to try something new? Or was your body not getting the same results as you were before, or what?
Yeah, as far as results, I was looking just to kind of like for quicker energy and increasing strength more. Not that you can't do it on a ketogenic diet. It's just easier when you're taking in like 400 grams of carbs.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, obviously,
Yes.
carbs are providing that energy, and when you're depleting that, yeah, you're getting your energy from somewhere else, but carbs have their place, and carbs, again, they get a bad rep. And again, in moderation, I think they have their place, especially if you're doing a lot of intense workouts. They're providing that fuel to be able to.
It's mainly your
to
source
do
of
that.
carbs.
Your what?
It's your source of carbs you're looking for, really. That's the bad part. You want to look for like I eat like Ezekiel bread, which is just like a sprouted grains, sweet potatoes, vegetables. So that's what you want to get your carbohydrates from. If you're eating like cookies and white bread for it, that's.
Yeah, and I think you've made a great point, because I think people, again, with sugar, like obviously there's sugar in a lot of natural fruits, right? But people, they're getting their sugar from these sodas or from these candies, and obviously that's not the sugar you want. But if you're eating, a bunch of fruit and you have sugar from them, then that's not necessarily, bad. Obviously, again, in moderation, but
Yeah,
it's not
and fruit
nearly
is
as
kind
bad
of-
as the other. Yeah, go ahead.
Fruit's been kind of getting like a bad like rap because of the sugar, because the whole thing is like there's no such thing as natural sugar. Sugar is sugar, which is true, but the nutritional benefits from fruit kind of outweigh the sugar you're taking in from them.
Yeah, and it's
At
not,
least-
essentially, it's not like, well, maybe they are, but it's not like they're injecting the sugar in there. Like, it's naturally made, and it's not this,
Yeah.
I don't want to say chemical, but it's not the stuff they're essentially ejecting in here to make it taste good. It's naturally forming, and I think that's what you're talking about with the carbohydrates. It's naturally forming, right? You're not eating the starched stuff, the wheat, or the white bread, or things of that nature.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But back to your saying about the keto diet. That's definitely one that's hard to keep up socially. If you go out to eat,
Yeah.
with like something, it can get weird really quick when you're asking for like all these fat sources, and it can be hard to keep up.
Yeah, I can imagine. So you were just after those 2 years, is that kind of the reason you're like, I'm just, well, you said you found something that kind of worked a little bit better for yourself. So maybe you use a little bit of the keto diet and you kind of mix that up with something else now, or what are you doing?
Like I slowly turned away from the keto diet kind of altogether. So I'm kind of back to eating, my like 65% carbohydrates, probably like 25% fat, and the rest protein. So just I feel better that way. I'm like really physically active, so just trying to like maintain and like recover properly.
Yeah, and it's a little bit more flexible, and you have a little bit more fuel to maintain those workouts. It sounds like, and it just overall, it's something like you said that works better for you.
Yeah,
Because you want to find
me.
something that's comfortable. You don't want to like constantly thinking about like how do I maintain this diet. You just want to be like, I want to live my life. I want it to be, as I say, like a health style, a lifestyle. I don't want it to be something that because I think diet, at least from my point of view, gets a bad rap. Like it's a diet, like the Atkins diet or whatever. Like
Yeah,
it almost seems like a scam, right? Like you don't want to do it, but I think that something where you mold it into what your lifestyle is, then it's easier to maintain because that's just what you do to go about your daily routine, and it works best for you, and you feel the best physically and mentally.
yeah. It's just at this point, it's just how I eat. It's not like a diet. I feel better this way. My main thing is just avoiding the sugar and processed carbs and foods.
Yeah, I don't track a lot myself. Like I said, I'm not writing anything down, but I know I'm definitely looking for sugar, because sugar has a dark history in American culture, sneaking its way into everything.
Yeah,
So I definitely watch that myself.
yeah. I definitely recommend looking up Jason Whitrock because besides that 4,000 calorie challenge, he also did 21 days of no sugar or artificial sweeteners at all. And it was just interesting.
What were
to
his?
see,
Did he reported a little findings on that, or did he was noticing anything like? Were there any big changes in his body like within just 21 days, or?
he just felt way better at the end of it. He like kind of learned how much sugar is in like almost everything we eat. Sugar can be labeled under tons of different names. There's like 50 names for sugars.
Oh wow, what's this guy's name again?
Jason Whitrock.
Whitrock. Okay, yeah, I'll have to check him out, and hopefully anybody else can check him out. But obviously, there's a lot of good information out there. There's a lot of good documentaries that are coming. I think I read some ones on, listened to some ones on Netflix that were pretty good. I can't remember what the documentary was, like Fed Up on Netflix. I think that might have been one. There was one about sugar that I watched initially a couple of years ago that really got me thinking about my sugar intake. So, but cool, man. So you've been doing that. You've been off that diet for about a year now, is what you said?
Yeah, once I relocated back to the East Coast, kind of got off of it.
Yeah, very cool, man. Awesome. So, man, I loved having you take the time to be on the show today. And I think we talked about some good things. I really, really hope that it was good. We kind of hit two really good things. Like for anybody that wanting to start a company for the first time, I think they could really get some good information out of that. And for anybody, as well, looking for that lifestyle of wanting to maintain a healthier lifestyle and maybe looking for information with ketosis and the keto diet and just I think an overall general healthy lifestyle. So like I said, it doesn't have to be crazy where you're monitoring everything. You can definitely find some things like that if it works for you. But there's a lot of simple stuff you can do to make sure you're not, intaking the wrong things and just eating a generally overall healthy lifestyle. And it's not anything super crazy, but it takes time, just like the company takes time. It takes research. Yeah. If you want to do something like this, like I said, that's not a diet, because a lot of diets fade. They're faddish. But if you do something like this, like going to the gym as a New Year's resolution, I think I've always said is terrible. If you want to go to start working out right now, if you want to start eating healthy right now, if you want to start a company right now, do it right now. Don't wait until the new year, because then it's going to fade away. That fad's going to fade away. That diet's going to fade away. Just
Exactly.
start it now, and then maintain it. And I know I don't know if like you did the company with somebody, I know that was probably really helpful, but I know when I try to start eating more and more healthy, like the fact that my wife eats really healthy too helps me out quite a bit, because, you know, she's like my teammate in the sense of, yeah, it would be so hard if I was I was trying to eat healthy and she's like eating a burger in front of me all day, or vice versa.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? Like it goes back to like the people that you surround yourself with have a huge impact on you. You know, what they're eating, you know, what they're saying, what they're thinking, and the motivation and the action they have in their life. So the fact that you had this idea for this company to want to give back to, you know, and donate, and then you guys, you know, actually put those motions into action, and you're donating to a great cause, and you're selling t-shirts, and then, you know, you're maintaining this lifestyle that you started when you're 17 and 18, and you're kind of just you're continuing to find out what works best for you, and you're being able to be flexible and change it as the years goes on, and, you know, it just keeps on hopefully getting better and better. So I think it was awesome, man. I think you're very, very knowledgeable, a lot more than me on a lot of these aspects with the, like I said, the keto, and a lot of the details that went along with that, and definitely the company. I think that was very cool. So I think people would be able to get a lot of good information out of that, and as well as the lifestyle. So thanks again, man.
Yeah, man. I could talk about nutrition all day. I love helping people with that. You know?
No, I do too. It's very important. Obviously, you want to maintain yourself physically, but like I've said a million times already, I'm a huge advocate of not only eating healthy and working out to maintain a physical body, but obviously your physical body is the vessel to maintain your mind for, you know, for the long run. To live a long and healthy life, it means mentally too, right? You want to be there 100%. So
yeah.
All
right.
Very good information, and we'll have to have another conversation down the road a little bit, and we'll talk about some more things. So thanks, Josh. And then, like I said, I'll post some things, the website and your Instagram profile in there, and the place that you're donating to, and people will be able to get information for that as well, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks a lot.
All right.
Anyone has questions, but just give me a message.
All right. Sounds good, man. See ya.